It's late. The world is quiet. Let's begin the late-night tale. You know how most places pray for sun? They celebrate it. They build festivals around it, not in the Valley of Liu. There, they waited for the clouds. They measured happiness in inches of rainfall. Welcome to Xiao, the town of weeping skies. A place tucked between mist-shrouded peaks where the rivers ran silver and the stone streets were worn smooth by centuries of soft, perpetual drizzle. But this was no ordinary rain. The waters that fell on Xiao had a property, a gentle mercy. A single touch from a falling drop could lift a minor worry from your mind. A walk in a steady shower could dissolve a day's anger or a month's grief. It washed the emotional stains away, leaving the soul blank, clean, ready for new joys or at least free of all pains. For generations, the people of Xiao lived in a state of serene equilibrium. They felt sorrow, yes, a lost crop, a quarrel, but they simply waited for the next rain. They would stand in the town square, faces upturned, and let the sky cleanse them. It was a gift or a bargain. No one thought to ask the price. Our story doesn't follow the serene ones. It follows a man who could not get clean. His name was Liang, a woodcarver with fingers stained dark by walnut ink and a heart stained darker by a memory. 5 years prior, his wife, Meilin, had died in childbirth, taking their silent son with her. A common tragedy, a grief the rain should have erased. And it did, for moments, for days. Liang would stand in the downpours until his skin pruned, feeling the sharp edges of his loss soften, blur, retreat, only to have them return, full and vicious, when the clouds parted. His sorrow was a weed with roots deeper than the rain could reach. He became a spectre in the town. While others opened their shutters to the damp, Liang kept his workshop sealed, the air inside thick with the dust of uncarved wood and unshed tears. He had only one friend, an old woman named Shu, the town archivist, whose eyes were the color of the slate sky and who remembered everything because she never let the rain touch her. She used oiled cloaks and broad hats. "A memory is a thread, Liang," she'd say, tapping her temple. "You pull one, the whole tapestry comes with it. The rain cuts threads. I prefer to keep my tapestry whole, even the dark patches." The other residents were characters in Liang's muted world. There was Mayor Jin, a fat, contented man who scheduled all meetings for during thunderstorms. There was Fen, the vibrant young dye maker, whose fabrics were explosively colorful, her happiness never diluted. And there was the outsider, Dr. Rong, a stern physician from the imperial court who had come to study Xiao's phenomenon and who watched the rain-bathing citizens with clinical, disapproving eyes. But the central figure, the anchor of Liang's world, was his 10-year-old daughter, Li. She was a child of the rain, born just before her mother's death. She was joyful, light as a sparrow, her childhood pains washed away as easily as dirt from her knees. She loved her father, but she could not understand the shadow that clung to him, the one the weather wouldn't take. She begged him to come walk with her in the showers. Liang always refused. He feared if he let the rain take even a fragment of his memory of Meilin, he would lose her completely. His pain was all he had left of his love. One autumn, the rhythm of Xiao broke. The rains stopped. For 7 days, then 14, the sky remained a hard porcelain blue. At first, there was celebration. Laundry dried, roads hardened. Then the unease set in. Minor irritations between neighbors didn't melt away, they festered into arguments. Old grudges, long forgotten, were remembered with startling clarity. The town square, once a place of communal cleansing, became a forum for muttered accusations. And Liang was in hell. Without the temporary respite the rain offered, his grief became a physical presence, a weight on his chest, a scream locked in his throat. He couldn't work, he couldn't sleep. He could only sit in his dark workshop, holding a small, unfinished carving of Meilin's face, drowning in a sea that would not recede. On the 21st day of the drought, Mayor Jin called a town meeting. The air in the square was thick with tension, a collective headache of unresolved emotion. Jin, sweating without the rain to cool his temper, shouted about water rationing. It was Dr. Rong who stood, her voice a scalpel cutting through the noise. This cessation is not natural. Your rain was never natural. It is an ecological anomaly, yes, but also a psychological crutch. You have built your souls on shifting sand. Now you face the bedrock of your own minds. It is not healthy. Old woman Shu chuckled from the shadows of her wide parasol. The good doctor mistakes a tool for a weakness. We have simply forgotten how to remember and how to forget, but Liang wasn't listening to them. He was watching his daughter, Li. She had gotten into a squabble with another child over a wooden toy, a tiny thing, but without the rain to soothe it. Li's face was contorted in a genuine, shaking anger Liang had never seen. It was a small, pure human rage, and it broke something in him. He couldn't bear his own sorrow. But seeing his daughter's, that he could not allow. As the meeting dissolved into bickering, Liang made a decision. He would go to the source. There were old tales whispered by people like Shu when they thought the children weren't listening. Tales of the high mountain, the Jade Crest, where the rains were born. They spoke not of clouds, but of a place, a still, silent lake cradled in the stone summit. The Lake of Unwept Tears, the source of Xiao's forgiving rain. It was a pilgrim's path forbidden by unspoken law. To seek the source was to distrust the gift. But the gift had stopped, and Liang's distrust had curdled into desperation. He left before dawn, a small pack on his back, the unfinished carving of Meilin secured in a pouch against his chest. He did not say goodbye to Li. The sight of her sleeping, peaceful face would have shattered his resolve. But old woman Shu was waiting by the town's edge, a silhouette against the grey pre-dawn. The path remembers the footsteps of the desperate, she said, her voice dry as parchment. It will try to show you what you seek to forget. The closer you get, the less the rain's protection holds. Your mind will be raw. Liang just nodded. His mind already was. Bring me a vial of the water from the source, she said, pressing a small clay flask into his hand. Not for me, for the record, for the truth. The climb was not physically arduous, but psychically torturous. As he ascended above the town, leaving the last roofs behind, the air didn't just thin, it changed. It grew heavy, not with moisture, but with presence. And the memories, usually a contained storm within him, began to leak. He wasn't just remembering Meilin's laugh. He was hearing it, echoing off the rocks as if she were just around the bend. The scent of her hair, osmanthus and ink, wrapped around him. He saw flashes of their wedding day, the red silk, her smile under the veil. But with the joy came the pain, undiluted, unsoftened by time or weather. The memory of her hand growing cold in his. The devastating silence of the birthing room. It was all playing out again, in real time, across the landscape of his mind. He stumbled, weeping, not from exertion, but from relived agony. This, he realized, was what the rain spared the town. Not just sorrow, but the full, brutal force of the past. The unimpeded weight of it. Halfway up, he found the first test. At a narrow pass sat a figure, cross-legged, blocking the way. It appeared to be a man of stone, moss clinging to his shoulders, but as Liang approached, the stone eyelids opened. They were not eyes, but pools of still, dark water. "I am the Sentinel," the figure intoned, its voice the sound of grinding pebbles in a stream. "I am the question the rain allows you to avoid. Why do you climb?" "To bring the rain back," Liang gasped, the words torn from him. "For the town or for you?" Liang thought of Li's angry face. "For my daughter," the Sentinel's water eyes swirled. "A partial truth. You carry a ghost in your pocket, woodcarver. You climb to silence her scream in your mind, not to hear your daughter's laugh, which is the heavier burden." Liang fell to his knees, the memories of Meilin's final moments crashing over him like a wave. He wanted to scream that it was for Li, all for Li, but the mountain saw through him. It saw the selfish core of his grief. He wanted oblivion, not healing. The rain erases, the Sentinel said. It does not heal. To pass, you must acknowledge what you truly seek. Do you seek to save your town from feeling, or to save yourself from feeling this? Liang clutched the carving through the cloth of his tunic. He saw Mei Lin smile in the wood grain. He heard Li's voice calling for him from far below. Two loves, one a memory, one a living breath. He looked up, his face wet with real, unrain-washed tears. I seek to choose which memories I drown in, he whispered, and which I build a raft from. The Sentinel was silent for a long moment. Then slowly it inclined its stony head. An honest answer, the first step. You may pass. The figure dissolved into a cascade of loose gravel, clearing the path. Liang pushed on, the emotional barrage continuing, each step a trial. He reached the summit as the sun reached its peak, a glaring, hostile eye in the dry sky. And there it was. Not a lake of roaring waterfalls, but a perfectly placid, circular pool. Its water was crystal clear, yet it gave the impression of impossible depth. It reflected nothing, not the sky, not the surrounding peaks. It was a void, the Lake of Unwept Tears. On the far bank he saw her, a woman, or the shape of one, woven from mist and falling water. Her form shifted constantly, a cascade given temporary grace. She was the spirit of the place, the weeping mother. You were the first to come in many generations, Liang. Her voice was the sound of a million gentle droplets hitting a still surface. They accept the gift below. They do not question it. You question. The gift has stopped, Liang said, his voice cracking. It has, the spirit echoed. The lake is full. She gestured, and for a moment, the water's surface showed not a void, but images. 1,000 moments of heartbreak, not just from Xiao, but from everyone. A lost land here, betrayed trust there, a death, failure, a hope extinguished. All the sorrow the rain had gently washed away from the people below, it flowed here. It was the lake, the town's collective pain, stored in sacred silence. We are at capacity, the weeping mother said, a hint of immense fatigue in her endless sigh. The vessel cannot overflow. To make new rain, old sorrow must be removed, purged, truly forgotten. It requires a sacrifice, Liang understood. You need someone to take a portion of this concentrated sorrow into themselves, to remember it so that others may forget. It is the balance, she extended her hand, shimmering visibly. You carry a profound grief. You are already a vessel. Will you drink? Will you take a measure of the world's forgotten pain into your soul, to make room for your town's simple, daily sorrows to be washed away again? Liang stared at the offered hand, then at the serene, terrible lake. He thought of Mayor Jin's petty anger, of the children's squabbles, of Li's uncomplicated joy. He thought of the crushing weight in his own chest, and the prospect of adding to it, of drinking a draught of pure, distilled sorrow from countless strangers. He pulled out old woman's shoes clay flask, and here, at the precipice of his choice, I must ask you, the listener, the question that Liang's very soul was screaming into that silent mountain air. What is the greater act of love, to bear a unique and personal agony forever, or to dilute it by absorbing the universal suffering of others, making your own pain just a single note in a silent, endless symphony? Liang did not hesitate. He waded into the lake. The water was not cold, but it was heavy. It clung to his skin like liquid mercury, each step a monumental effort against the density of forgotten grief. He filled Shu's flask, the water pouring into it with a sound like a distant sigh. But that was just a sample. For the town, he knew, would require more. A personal commitment. The weeping mother watched, her form flickering like a candle in the wind. To drink is to remember forever, she returned. Rain makes forgetting easy. This makes it impossible. They will sit beside your own. They will whisper to you in the night. Do you understand? Liang thought of Li's face, free of anger. He thought of Fen's bright fabrics under a grey sky. He even thought of Maya Jin's bland contentment. He saw old woman Shu guarding her tapestry of memories, dark threads and all. He nodded. For Li, he whispered. Not as an excuse, but as a compass. He cupped his hands, dipped them into the void-like water, and brought them to his lips. The effect was not a flood of new, specific memories. It was a tidal wave of pure, abstract feeling. The hollow ache of a lost child he never had. The bitter tang of a betrayal from a friend he'd never known. The crushing weight of 100,000 regrets for paths not taken, words not spoken, loves not cherished. It was despair, distilled. It settled into his bones, into the marrow of him, a second, heavier skeleton beneath his skin. He screamed, but no sound came out. The sorrow stole his voice. He fell to his knees in the water, the world dissolving into a grey static, a profound communal loss. His own grief for Mei Lin was still there, a bright, sharp shard in this new, formless mass. But now it was no longer the only thing. It was a single tree in a petrified forest. It was his, it was defining, but it was not alone. The weeping mother bowed her head. The balance is restored. The rains will return to Xiao and have made room. Liang staggered back to shore, the clay flask a burning weight in his pack. The descent was a blur. The painful, personal memories of Mei Lin still echoed, but they were now accompanied by a deep, resonant hum of shared human suffering. It was unbearable, yet he didn't. He carried it all down the mountain. He returned to Xiao as the first new clouds, fat and dark, bruised the evening sky. The townspeople were already emerging, faces upturned in hate, in craving. Old woman Shu found him at the edge of this. He looked years older, his eyes deep wells, holding the reflection of that lightless lake. Without a word, he handed her the flask. She uncorked it, dipped a finger in, and touched it to her tongue. The slate-grey eyes widened, then softened with a terrible understanding.
Oh, Liang, she breathed. You didn't just bring rain.
You brought the ocean. He walked past her, into the town square, as the first drops began to fall. People cheered, opening their arms, their mouths, letting the blessed forgetfulness wash over them. Their petty angers, their fresh worries, dissolved on contact. Liang stood in the center of it all. He let the rain soak his hair, his tattered clothes, his weary face. He did nothing, not a single memory lightened, not a fragment of sorrow dissolved. The rain fell on him like ordinary water. He had drunk from the source, and in doing so, made himself immune to its effect. He was now the repository, the anchor, one who remembered, so that everyone else could forget. He saw Li run from their house, laughing, spinning in the downpour. She saw him and sprinted over, hugging his soaking waist. "You're back, and you're in the rain," she cried, her face alight with joy, that earlier anger gone without a trace. He placed a heavy hand on her head.
Her joy was real, contagious.
It was everything he wanted for her. That night, in his silver workshop, he took out the unfinished carving of Mei Lin. He looked at it, then at his tools. His own sorrow was still sharp, but it no longer threatened to engulf the world. Around it was a vast, quiet plain of understanding. He finally picked up a fine chisel. He did not try to capture her perfect smile from their wedding day. Instead, he began to carve the gentle, tired curve of her mouth in the morning light. Not just a monument to loss, but a record of a life lived. Outside, the rain continued to fall, a gentle, forgiving rhythm on the tiles of Xiao. But inside, Liang worked, bearing the silent weight of the unwept tears, and found, in that immense burden, a strange and terrible kind of peace. The price for the town's happiness was his own eternal rememberings have returned. The equilibrium is restored. Liang carries the ocean of sorrow. Li dances in the gentle, forgiving drizzle. Liang carries the ocean of sorrow. Li dances in the gentle, forgiving drizzle. The bargain holds. Years passed in the town of Xiao. The rains continued their gentle, cyclical work. The people lived in their state of soft contentment. Their minor sorrows washed clean with each passing shower. Mayor Jin remained amiable, eventually left, publishing a dubious paper under the collective atmospheric psychosomatics, never understanding the truth. And Liang, he remained the fixed point, the pillar in the river. He opened his shutters, but the rain that fell into his workshop was just water. He aged faster than the others, the weight of the Lake of Unwept Tears bending his shoulders, etching lines deep into his face. But his hands remained steady. He finished the carving of Mei Lin, not as a goddess of memory, but as a woman, mortal and real, with kindness in her eyes and the faint worry of life at their corners. He placed it on his workbench, not as a shrine, but as a companion. Then he began to carve other things. A sparrow for Li, a lotus for Shu. He even carved a ridiculous plump frog for Mayor Jin. His art changed. It became profound, not because he was trying to be deep, but because every cut of his chisel was guided by the immense, silent understanding he now carried. He carved the joy of a first step, and you could feel the shadow of falls taken. He carved the peace of an old man sleeping, and you could sense the lifetimes of worry that peace had cost. His carvings held the full spectrum because he now held it within him. His daughter, Li, grew into a vibrant young woman, her spirit largely unburdened. She loved her father, though she never understood his deep, quiet sadness, or why he sometimes looked at the rain with an expression of unbridgeable distance. She simply accepted it as part of him, like the stain of walnut ink on his fingers. On the day she married, the sun broke through for an hour, a rare, celebrated omen. Li laughed under the golden light, a sight of pure joy. Liang stood at the edge of the crowd, watching. He felt his own fierce, personal love for her, and beneath it, the quiet, echoing hum of every father who had ever given a daughter away. The joy and the loss intertwined. He did not shed a tear. His tears were all in the lake. Old woman Shu, now impossibly ancient, visited him that evening. The rain had returned, a soft curtain outside. "The record is complete," she said, her voice a whisper. "I have written the truth of the lake, of the Sentinel, of the price. It is sealed in the archive. For someone someday who needs to understand that forgetting has a cost." Liang nodded, smoothing a block of fragrant sandalwood. "Will you let the rain touch you now?" Shu smiled, a network of cracks in a wise old face. "No, my tapestry is complete. I will carry it whole to the end." She looked at him, her gaze sharp. "And you, do you regret your choice?" "You have given them all a clean slate every day, while yours is permanently stained." Liang looked at his hands, then out at the glistening, rain-soaked town where his daughter now made her home. He thought not in grand terms of sacrifice, but in simple images. Li's laugh, uninterrupted by lingering resentment, a neighbor quick forgiveness after a dispute, a peaceful, unburdened sleep of a whole town. "No," he said, and it was the truth. "I do not regret it. I remember Mei Lin clearly now. Not just the pain of losing her, but the warmth of her. I remember it all. The rain took that from the others. It gives them peace, but it steals context. I hold the context for them." Shu placed a parchment-thin hand on his. "You are the town's living memory, Liang. Its silent, weeping heart, that is how the story ends. Not with a bang, but with the soft, perpetual sound of rain on tile." The town of Xiao thrives, blissful in its ignorance, protected by its gentle, erasing skies. And in a quiet workshop, a woodcarver works by lamplight, his heart a vessel for an ocean of sorrow, his hands creating beauty from the depths of that endless sea. The bargain holds, the balance is kept. So tell me, is a world without sorrow a blessing, or is it the silence of a story whose darkest, most defining chapters have been gently, irrevocably washed away?